the people of the Middle East are not intelligent. Even if they come to this country like Nora, are not intelligent. She is an entitled piece of shit. She's not used to people in her country calling her an entitled piece of shit, because if they called her an entitled piece of shit, they would be hanged in public or stoned to death, or they would actually be, the people around this particular person, like you've tried to do to me, would be the person who's speaking out would be cast, ostracized, but you would implant ideas in other people's heads, which is what Mona Van has tried to do to my American people against me, and that's for you, Vayner Nation. Not only have we seen Mona Van in her military malicious tactics, we've watched her steal the lives of Americans like Ginger Beloved and Peg Moore. However, that's actually who those people were, because a real American would never turn their back on a real conversational communication of Americans. This is how sick these people are. See, if my content goes out and it's viral, which it is, but visually, when mainstream media gets a hold of my stuff, this is like literally the story of the entire existence of the entire world. If the legacy media starts talking about this, they get put in their place. That means they have to actually do work. Instead of just showing up with their hair and makeup done, you actually have to have talent. You as the people actually have an opinion. You as the people actually cause trouble and ruckus to bad people. You as people actually want to learn shit. You as people actually become successful business professionals, even on a small scale. We have less homeless. But all those things bring money into people like Mona Van's pocket. Because if you are less than, then she can be more than, and then she can tell you how to feel. And then all she has to do is post pictures of herself wearing a red dress, and you're like, wow, that's hot. Then she can go on a podcast and talk to Ken Cook, where she's clearly abusing him. Or should we say he's undercover? Where she is now a partner, which is all part of the undercover. Well, she tells us how to grow food, but she doesn't even know how to grow any form of a plant. She doesn't have any plants in her house. She doesn't have any greenery in her house. So how is she caring about plants? She doesn't wear makeup in one video. She says, I don't really like to wear makeup. And then now all of a sudden she cares about clean makeup. I mean, this is absolutely out of control and ridiculous. So the fact that you can't put two and two together is what they're counting on. That you don't do the research on her. I've already looked up to see if she has a license for pharmacy. Doesn't exist. It would say expired. Not her real name, by the way. So these people don't have real names. They are liars. They live in Bravo television. And then they abuse you like Heather Lamusa, who licks her lips and says, I'm a reality star. I know how this game's played. That's really gross, especially when you proclaim yourself to have 3 kids, when in reality you actually only have 1 you gave birth to, but that kid's actually my kid. So these people are violating our emotions. Let's just get rid of civil rights for a second. And they're violating our emotions because they're that insecure. This is how Gestapo and the Hitler Nazis, this is how they operated in Germany in the 40s. You can watch it in movies. You can watch it in real recorded video of what these people actually did to people. This is exactly what Mona Van has tried to do to this nation. This is what Dubai does to their people. This is what Heather Lamusa is trying to do to this country. See, the problem with all of this is there's an unrelatability of awareness. The reality of what reality is versus their delusion of seduction. While men carry them around. Yeah, men carry them around. But the problem isn't really, honestly, these men. In some cases, however, they're becoming these women, which is the blurred line of what exactly is a WOMAN. We now have men who act as women, like Harry Sessner, who are not political careerists. They're literally just terrorists in this country. So they're all thinking they're being given this free ride of like Democrat Party because they're louder than the rest of you. They're more louder is more abusive, more connections. So in your mind as a human being in this country of the United States of America, if someone speaks louder, has more networking opportunity, has more money, that means they feel like they have more power. Power is in when they speak, you listen. However, their intention is to abuse the hell out of you and for you never to win, but for you to worship them. That would be Mona Van. That's why she did business deals with Gary Vee, and that's why Gary Vee went undercover with that freaking whore, because she's got other shit that is really fucking weak at this point, I would have to say. While she's attached to Hamas. While she's been going into the government, because the Democrats are working with Hamas. That's how it works. That's how it works. If you hire a Mona Van to go into the White House to talk to your asses about nonsense, then you've just hired a terrorist to abuse the United States of America. That's for you, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And that's the same for Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton and Hannah Bronfman, who is not American. She's a Canadian. Not to mention she was born into a billion-dollar family. So how are these people with all this money disrespecting so many people? Because they have money and they were born with a silver spoon up their ass. They tell you everything without telling you anything. Why did Nepo Baby become so prominent? Because the people that were in Hollywood create ways to fuck us all over versus directly speaking to us so that somebody else will have to do the work for what they created. And that's exactly what it looks like. You keeping your mouth shut is out of integrity. That's why your life is so fucking miserable. And just because you imply it through conversation doesn't mean you've cleaned up anything. You handed that problem of uncertainty and unrest over to other people. And that's why we experience Gary Vee the way we experience Gary Vee now, is because he's living out of integrity. Who's the out of integrity about? That would be my content. Nothing that you've done in the last 7 years matches the words that you say. Examples of out of integrity. Then you say that you're a man of your word. Well, what is your word? That you're going to violate and abuse me? That's the real fucking question. That's for you too, Harrison Ford. That's for all of you out of LA. You're not who you say you are, which just means you're all of LA because it's all a experience of osmosis. You're all out of integrity with your t-shirt businesses and your vile content and your vile personalities and your game playing that's literally gotten out of control because you refer to yourselves as liberals because you want to have boobies and you've got a penis. That might get community guidelines. So we'll just put this over on the YouTube page. That's like common sense, folks. You are participating in communism when you work with China, whatnot, and TikTok are communists. Facts. Singapore, choo-choo, working with communists becomes a communist, doesn't understand communism, but he definitely knows how to operate as a communist. So the difference between a lot of you and me is I don't have the vibe of wanting to be famous. No, thank you, because that life that you're living in LA is fucking filth, which is why you're burning to the fucking ground. So this is going to be a huge eye-opener for all you motherfuckers, for what you've tried to do to this nation in the last 4 years as TikTok has exploded, and all of you wanted to play some dumb fucking game on my life. Because your money ain't gonna pull you out of the fact that you lost that locket or that diamond or that jewels and all those things that your family had hidden in the catacombs of your home, of your rich bitch house. And that's the dissection and the disintegration. When you're doing witchcraft, do you burn shit to get rid of it? Well, then there you go. So that means you're cutting ties with your Hilton legacy and your Mona Van shit and your Heather Lamusa shit and your Anne Hathaway shit and all the other shit that you all tried to produce on the land. So it's actually a good thing in a bad kind of way that LA's burning to the ground, because you don't listen for shit, but you're going to listen long and hard when your house burns to the ground. And that's for